Good day and thank you for joining us on BeeTv News Update at 3. I am Lee Britman Joanna. Now the news in details. The Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, has approved the establishment of the Edo State Luxury Regulatory Commission. The commission is conceived as the central regulatory body for all luxury gaming and related activities within the state. Its primary objectives are to provide a legal and institutional framework for regulating luxury and gaming operations in Edo State, ensure transparency, accountability, and integrity in the conduct of lottery activities, safeguard the interest of participants and the general public by enforcing fair play and responsible gaming standards, generate revenue for the state through well-structured licensing and regulation of gaming operators. A statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Musa Ihilo, ESQ, said, His Excellency has approved the appointment of Right Honorable Frank Okiye, former Speaker, Edo State of Assembly, as the Chairman of the Board, Dandi Imakwede Osere as member, Elvis Udiale as member, Mr. Ndidi Agimie, member, and Honorable Habibat Yakubu will serve as Secretary. The names of the above nominated individuals will be forwarded to the Edo State House of Assembly for consideration and confirmation. This initiative reflects the government's commitment to create a well-regulated gaming industry that protects consumers, enhances investor confidence, and contributes to the socio-economic development of Edo State. In a related development, Senator Monday Okpebholo, Governor of Edo State, has approved the establishment of the Ecological Funding and Management Commission to serve as a legal and institutional framework for promoting sustainable environmental management in Edo State. To be chaired by Dr. Blessing Agbohire, ESQ, as Executive Chairman, this landmark initiative is designed to ensure transparent and accountable mobilization and utilization of ecological resources, strengthen coordination among stakeholders, align state actions with national and international environmental commitments, and contribute to ecological sustainability, climate resilience, biodiversity conservation, and environmental justice. Others are Honorable Felix Ibade, who will serve as Executive Director of Projects, Ivie Uwaifo, Executive Director Administration, Khadijat Yusuf, Executive Director of Finance. The name of the above nominated individuals will be forwarded to the Edo State House of Assembly for consideration and confirmation. This decisive step reflects the government's commitment to safeguarding the environment for present and future generations while positioning Edo State as a leader in climate action and sustainable development. The federal government has cancelled the parade earlier scheduled to mark Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary on Wednesday, October 1st. The announcement was contained in a statement issued on Monday by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The statement, signed by the Director of Information and Public Relations, Segun Imoyosen, says, the cancellation is in no way a dismissal of the significance of this milestone anniversary. It added that the government regrets any inconvenience caused, but stressed that other activities lined up for the anniversary will proceed as scheduled. This includes the traditional presidential broadcast, cultural programs, and the grand finale of the National Campus Debate. At a World Press Conference in Abuja on Monday, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, explained that Independence Day is not only a ceremonial date, but an opportunity for sober reflection and renewed patriotism. He said the Independence Day is a profound opportunity for everyone to reflect on how they come as a people, celebrate the resilience, and renew the government's commitment to unity, peace, and progress. U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says they have agreed a new peace plan for Gaza, warning Hamas to accept it. The plan proposes an immediate end to military operations, with Hamas releasing 20 living Israeli hostages and the remains of the more than 24 hostages who are believed to be dead within 72 hours in exchange for hundreds of detained Gazans, the reports.
The Palestinian source familiar with the ceasefire negotiations told the BBC that Hamas officials have been giving the White House 20-point proposal. It demands that Hamas will have no role in governing Gaza and leaves the door open for an eventual Palestinian state. Speaking at a news conference following talks at the White House, Trump called the plan a historic day for peace. But he said that Netanyahu will have U.S. backing to finish the job of destroying the threat of Hamas if Hamas does not agree to the plan. Netanyahu then said Israel will finish the job if Hamas rejects the plan or does not follow through.
I support your plan to end the war in Gaza, which achieves our war aims. We'll finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way, but it will be done.
This is eternity. This is for forever. And let's call it eternal peace in the Middle East.
The president made clear what the first steps needed to be in return for a permanent ceasefire and an Israeli withdrawal.
This proposal calls for the release of all remaining hostages, immediately demilitarize Gaza, and that's quickly, decommission the military capabilities of Hamas and all other terror organizations.
The Palestinian Authority, which governs the Israeli-occupied West Bank, has called the U.S. president's effort as sincere and determined. In a statement published by the Wafa news agency, the authority said it renews its joint commitment to work with the United States, regional states, and partners to end the war on Gaza, ensure efficient delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza, and the release of hostages and prisoners. In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Indonesia, and Pakistan said they welcomed Trump's leadership and his sincere efforts to end the war in Gaza. They said they were ready to engage with the U.S. to finalize and implement the agreement, which they said should lead to a two-state solution under which Gaza is fully integrated with the West Bank in a Palestinian state. The proposal, if followed, would begin with the immediate cessation of military operations. It also says existing battle lines would be frozen in place until conditions are met for a staged withdrawal. Under Trump's plan, Hamas will lay down its arms and its tunnels and weapon production facilities would be destroyed. For every Israeli hostage whose remains are released, Israel will release the remains of 15 dead Gazians, the plan says. The plan also stipulates that once both sides agree to the proposal, full aid will be immediately sent into the Gaza strips. The U.S. also outlines its plans for the future governance of Gaza. It says a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee will govern temporarily with oversight and supervision by a new international transitional body called the Body of Peace, which will be headed by Trump. Former UK Prime Minister Sir Tony Blair will be part of the governing body alongside other leaders to be announced. Sir Tony called the plan bold and intelligent. European Council President Antonio Costa said he was encouraged by Prime Minister Netanyahu's positive response to the proposal. He added that all parties must seize the moment to give peace a genuine chance. French President Emmanuel Macron praised the proposal, saying France stands ready to contribute to the efforts to end the war and release hostages. The Israeli military launched a campaign in Gaza in response to the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on 7 October 2023, in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage. At least 66,055 people have been killed in Israel's attack in Gaza since then, according to the territory's Hamas-run health ministry. A UN-backed body recently confirmed that famine was taking place in Gaza City. Earlier this month, a UN Commission of Inquiry concluded that Israel had committed genocide in Gaza, which Israel strongly rejects. Best Orator reporting for BeeTv News.
Hamas is reviewing a Gaza peace plan announced by Donald Trump in the White House on Monday. The 20-point plan includes an ending to fighting, the return of Israeli hostages, and an international board of peace to help run Gaza, which includes former Prime Minister Tony Blair. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists the plan will not mean Palestinian statehood. Trump, who announced the plan alongside Netanyahu, says if Hamas doesn't accept, he gives Israel full backing to do what you would have to do. Hamas have said to be reviewing the plan in good faith. Our Gaza correspondent Rajdish Abualov says its response may come in form of yes, but European and Middle Eastern leaders have welcomed the plan. But our correspondent Tom Bateman says it is not a detailed proposal to end the war. Meanwhile, Israel continues its offensive in Gaza, saying its Air Force hit 160 targets across the Strip on Monday. Donald Trump has repeated his threat to impose a 100% tariff on all films not made
In May, the US president said he would talk to Hollywood executives about his plan and to begin the process of imposing the levy because America's film industry was dying a very fast death. Trump's remarks come as he announced a new wave of tariffs last week, including a 100% levy on branded or patented drugs because patented drug imports, as well as 50% levies on kitchen and bathroom cabinets. Trump did not say when the tariff will come into force. The White House has been approached for a comment.
Somewhat frustrated with the proposal, it's also left many in the industry scratching their heads. How any sort of tariff would work, especially in the age of streaming, is very much up in the air. But even Trump just musing about hitting foreign productions may mean companies consider cutting back.
It was also unclear if the tariffs would apply to film on streaming services such as Netflix, as well as those shown at cinemas, or how they will be calculated. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce said it was deeply concerned by the levy because American production houses relied on Canadian facilities, crews, and talents to deliver Hollywood movies. Catherine Fortin-Lefevre, said Senior Vice President of International Policy and Global Partnerships for the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, said these tariffs risk punishing U.S. studios for filming in Canada by driving up costs, stifling investment, and undermining the competitive advantage our countries have built together. She said the tariff would weaken both economies and jeopardize thousands of middle-class jobs. Filmmakers have progressively lured by tax incentives that come from shooting movies in other parts of the world, and the Los Angeles film industry has lost its glitz and glamour. Mr. Coatsworth said it would be difficult to define an American-made movie if a film were to be shot in the US but have foreign actors, directors, or funding. So it's hard to understand just how Trump intended to impose the levy. He said investors did not appear to see this as a serious threat. At present, stocks for companies such as Netflix and Disney dipped briefly, then bounced back. Several recent major films produced by US studios were shot outside of America, including Deadpool and Wolverine, Wicked, and Gladiator 2. The US remains a major film production hub globally, despite challenges, according to movie industry research. The US remains a major film production hub globally, despite changes, according to movie industry research from ProdPro. Its annual report showed the country saw $14.54 billion, equivalent to 10.94 billion euros of production spending last year, but that was down by 26% since 2022. Countries that have attracted an increase in spending since 2022 include Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the UK. The report understands the UK government is waiting for the details of the US tariff and how it will impact the British film industry. A spokesperson for the Department of Business and Trade said the UK film industry employs millions of people and generates billions for our economy. Separately, on Monday, the president announced 10% tariffs on imports of softwood timber and lumber, as well as 25% levies on kitchen cabinets, vanities, and upholstered wooden furniture. Trump had hinted at the proposal earlier in the day in a Truth Social post, saying substantial tariffs on any country that does not make its furniture in the United States. The tariffs will apply from 14th of October, with some of the levies set to increase sharply next year for countries that fail to reach an agreement with the US, according to a proclamation signed by the president. It came after Trump announced a new wave of tariffs last week, including a 100% levy on branded or patented drugs imports, unless a company is building a factory in the US. Harmony Agbafo reporting for BeeTv News.
You're still watching BeeTv News Update at 3 while we go on a short break to stay with us.
My people of Edo State, development is not a miracle. It is the result of responsibility and action. You want good roads, quality hospitals, schools, jobs for our youth? Then you must understand this simple truth. Government cannot perform without your tax. Government will fix schools, build roads, light up communities. If the people pay their tax, that's how governance works. It is not about politics. It is about progress. When you pay your tax, you are not helping the government. You are helping yourself. You are helping your family and your future. Don't wait to be chased. Do the right thing. Be part of building the new Edo State. Pay your tax with pride. Let us build Edo together. This message is brought to you by Edo State Internal Revenue Service. EIRS, Administering Revenue for Service and Development.
Welcome back, and now to business news. President Bola Tinubu is set to inaugurate the newly renovated National Art Theatre in Igamu, Lagos, now renamed the Wole Soyinka Center for Cultural and Creative Arts. The renovation project was undertaken by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Bankers Committee in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy. Let's join BeeTv News SOA Osemige for more details from Business World.
The reopening marks an effort to rejuvenate Nigerians' cultural heritage and promote the creative industry. The event will be attended by state governors, lawmakers, diplomats, business leaders, academies, cultural ambassadors, and youth leaders. Performances will be held by national troupe and top artists, with special remarks expected from Professor Wole Soyinka. The CBN Governor Olayemi Kadese will give the welcome address, and goodwill messages will be delivered by Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Minister Anatu Musawa. The Federal Inland Revenue Service announced major tax reforms that will exempt food, education, shared transportation, and agriculture from value-added tax. The reforms are the most expensive fiscal changes in Nigeria since independence and are scheduled to take effect in January 2026. The changes consolidate multiple tax laws into a single code, reducing the number of tax types to single digit and creating a simplified framework for individuals and businesses. Businesses with annual turnover below 50 million will no longer be required to pay tax. Thresholds for personal income tax have been adjusted to protect low-income earners. On June 26, 2025, President Bola Tinubu signed into law 4 bills: Nigerian Tax Act, Nigerian Tax Administration Act, Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act, and Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act, collectively referred to as the Tax Act Quartet. These legislation aim to broaden the tax base, improve compliance, and enhance transparency across all tiers of government. A presidential committee on fiscal policy and tax reforms, chaired by Taiwo Oyedele of PwC, was instrumental in designing and implementing the reforms. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, signed a new 2-year crude supply agreement with the Dangote Petroleum Refinery in August 2025. The agreement secures the supply of crude oil to the 650,000 barrel per day refinery in Lekki, Lagos, under the federal government's Crude for Naira initiative. Between October 2024 and October 2025, a total of 82 million barrels of crude oil were allocated to the refinery, of which 49.3 million barrels, 2% were sold in Naira. In August 2025, 3 crude cargoes were allocated, while 5 cargoes were assigned each for September and October. Crude oil loading operations for August were completed, while September operations are currently ongoing. The deal follows a temporary suspension of petrol sales in Nigeria by the refinery, which was resolved after intervention from the Naira for Crude Technical Committee periodic reconciliation that were conducted among NNPC, Dangote Petroleum Refinery, and Petrochemical, and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to align product volumes and cost with crude supply. Stakeholders have called on the federal government to issue a white paper addressing the ongoing dispute between Dangote Refinery and the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, warning that unresolved tensions could threaten the economy. The Edo State government is projected internally generated revenue of 100 billion naira by December 2025, driven by digital tax reforms and enhanced enforcement. As of August 2025, the state's IGR stood at 74 billion and had risen to 79 billion by late September. According to the executive chairman of the Edo State Internal Revenue Service, Bamide Ayodele Bankole Balogun, the state has improved tax administration through audit, assessment, and court actions to enforce compliance. A key priority is the digitalization of tax collection to reduce cash transaction and improve transparency. National reforms will also require the use of tax identical numbers, bank verification numbers, and national identification numbers for all financial transactions from 2026. This is expected to strengthen income tracking, reduce evasion, and boost collection. The Edo government expects these measures to provide fiscal stability and support expanded investment in infrastructure, social services, and economic development. And that is the end of the business news segment for now. I am Soher Osevegi, reporting for BeeTv News.
Moving on to entertainment news. Nigerian singer and Malian record executive Naira Marley has acquired a brand new 2025 electric Mercedes G-Wagon valued at over 740 million naira. The vehicle, known for its cutting-edge design and high-performance capabilities, is among the most anticipated release in the automotive industry this year. Also, Kami Crawford announced engagement. Let's join BeeTv News Evelyn Izibili for details and more from Business Entertainment World.
The acquisition has gained widespread attention across social media platforms, further emphasizing Naira Marley's reputation for luxury living and extravagant lifestyle choices. The artist, known for his street-inspired music and large fan base, referred to as the Malians, has consistently remained in the public eye for both his musical work and personal lifestyle. The newly purchased 2025 G-Wagon is an electric model, reflecting a growing trend among global celebrities who are adopting sustainable luxury vehicles. The purchase reinforces Naira Marley's public image as a high-profile entertainer with a preference for modern and environmentally conscious assets. While many fans have commended the purchase, some online users raised concern about the pattern of excessive spending often associated with celebrities. Despite mixed reaction, the acquisition has kept Naira Marley at the center of public discourse, reinforcing his influence in the Nigerian entertainment industry. Veteran Nollywood actress Toyin Afolaya, popularly known as Lola Idije, has addressed the challenges associated with single parenting in a recent interview. She described the experience as difficult, citing the lack of society support for single parents, especially single mothers. Lola Idije became a single parent following the death of her husband. She noted a single mother often faced judgment from society while simultaneously managing demanding responsibilities such as paying school fees and providing daily necessities for their children. She emphasized the emotional and financial burdens borne by single mothers and advocated for resilience and focus in child upbringing, urging single parents to prioritize their children's well-being despite societal pressures. Former MTV host Camille Crawford has announced her engagement following a private proposal that took place on September 27, 2025 in New York City. The announcement was made via her official Instagram account, which featured images of the proposal, the engagement ring, and candid moments with her fiancé. Although the identity of her fiancé remained undisclosed, the announcement has generated significant interest among fans and media outlets. Camille Crawford is recognized for her role as co-host of the MTV reality show Catfish, as well as her work as a podcast and television host. The engagement has attracted widespread congratulations from fans and colleagues in the entertainment industry. Evelyn Isabella reporting for BeeTv News.
And lastly, on sport news, Rasmus Haaland Jr. was a hero as Norway recorded a 1-0 win against the Flying Eagles of Nigeria in 2025 U20 FIFA World Cup opener. Nigeria's youth men national team, known as the Flying Eagles, suffered a 0-1 loss to Norway in their opening group game at the 2025 U20 FIFA World Cup. The Flying Eagles disqualified for the tournament following a bronze medal at the African U20 Cup of Nations AFCON earlier this year. Despite a late barrage by the Flying Eagles, Norway defended their advantage in the second half to secure 3 points to start the tournament. The Flying Eagles, in a group with Norway, Saudi Arabia and Colombia, now have a challenge to make the knockout stage. Following a loss to the European side, the Flying Eagles return to action when they take on Saudi Arabia in their next group game scheduled for Friday, October 3rd, 2025. Bafana points deduction rocks South Africa as Minister vows investigation as World Cup dreams faces threats. The South African national football team Bafana has been dealt a severe blow to its 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifications hopes after the World Football Governing Body FIFA docked the team 3 points for fielding an ineligible player. The decision, announced on Monday, has sparked outrage, with the country's Sport Minister Arts and Culture, Gayton Miskenzie, labeling the incident as embarrassment to our nation and the game of football. The controversy centers on midfielder Teboho Mikiona, who played in the Group C qualifier against Lesotho on March 21, a match Bafana initially won 2-0. FIFA's ruling overturned the result, awarding Lesotho a 3-0 victory, which saw South Africa's points total drop from 17 to 14. And that will be all in our bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. To stay tuned for more updates on our major news at 6, I remain your host, Lee Brickman Joanna. Bye for now.